there is a need to give corrections also.
It's like, for example, I have an apple. It has a black spot. I don't have to throw away the apple.
How do we balance between humility and the need to correct people?
You have to correct in such a way that you uplift people. Don't push people down.
Krishna gives more credit to his devotees than he takes for himself.
My most memorable moments are with my spiritual master.
A leader genuinely taking pleasure in seeing the success of the subordinates.
It's leader who can give qualification to the people by bringing the best out of them.
The best way of living life is to be in harmony with the best part of ourselves.
Preaching to youth is a very big advantage because the whole community comes from that. So youngsters are the future of tomorrow.
Humility wins the hearts. It is also one of the essential teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
We should know, even though we may be leaders, you are not the root of the tree. You are only a leaf in the tree.
So he did not immediately go and speak to them the philosophy.
We don't want any post or position or any privileges. We want only seva.
Devotees are spending a lot of time expanding the movement, but parasparana kathanam, these things also will have to be prioritized and that nourish us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna says, one who preaches his message to the devotees is very dear to him. And also in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's mentioned, Janasya Krishnad Vimukhasya Daivat Adharmashilasya Sudukhitasya Anugrahayeha Charanti Nunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya. In this shloka, it's mentioned that great compassionate souls travel from one place to another place with the one and only intention of enlightening common people in the path of bhakti, in the path of Krishna consciousness. They have no other motives in their heart. Such people are very, very dear to the Lord. And Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Maryada Palanahaya Sadhu Rabhushan. One who upholds Vaishnava culture and Vaishnava etiquettes is very dear to the Lord, and upholding that Vaishnava character and Vaishnava etiquettes is like real ornament for a devotee. This is what Chaitanya Charitamrita says. Today, we are going to meet one such wonderful and exemplary personality, none other than His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, who is an example of spreading Krishna consciousness across the globe in various ways, and also an exemplary devotee who upholds Vaishnava culture and Vaishnava etiquette, and he really has that Sadhura Bhushan. So today we are going to discuss some very exciting topics on Krishna consciousness, and we would like to hear Radheshyam Prabhu's opinions and experiences on some of these Krishna conscious topics. So let's begin. Radheshyam Prabhu needs no introduction, so I'm not going to spend so much time on introducing him. He is very dear to the hearts of so many hundreds and thousands of devotees across the globe, and especially he is very known for bringing so many devotees, hundreds and thousands of devotees to the path of bhakti, and he is very dear to everyone, and he is a good writer, and he is a very empowered representative of Srila Prabhupada. So now let's hear from him. Hare Krishna, Radheshyam Prabhu. It's my great fortune to be with you today and spend time like this. To begin with, I would like to ask you one simple question, Prabhu. Can you please recollect one of your sweetest experiences in Krishna consciousness? You have been practicing bhakti for over 3 decades. So one of your sweetest, memorable moments in bhakti with devotees, with Krishna, you can share. Let's begin with this.
My most memorable moments are with my spiritual master. When, because I come from a South Indian background, when I first met him, I had 3 bhasma on my forehead like this, 3, as we put in South India. And I was having a dhoti also, like a South Indian dhoti. And first I met him in Adikesha Prabhu's house. So he was absolutely non-judgmental and very welcoming. And he knew that I was a Shiva Bhakta. I was doing Rudram, Chamakam and all those things. He absolutely didn't mention anything about it. He sang the Hare Krishna mantra. So going and meeting him in the room several times and discussing with him which eventually led me to joining the ashram full time. So those, I would say, are the sweetest moments of my life. I can just share one instance. Once I went to his room and said, Maharaj, many of the brahmacharis are saying that, I can't keep a picture of Shiva, I can't worship Shiva, and I can't chant Rudram Chamaka Mandala, I told him. So he said, nothing wrong with that. You can keep a picture of Shiva, you can chant Yajurveda mantras. Not a problem. He said, Shiva is a very exalted devotee, you can keep that. He said, oh really? I said, if that is so, then in 3 months I can join full time. I told him. So, and then when I was about to leave the room, he said, but there is no need, he said. Then I asked him, no need for what? He said, although nothing wrong in you keeping a picture of Shiva and doing all this mantra, there is no need. Why? And then he quoted the example of the Bhagavatam that you water the root of the tree, the whole tree gets nourished. Similarly, when you chant Hare Krishna, not only Shiva, even Brahma, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, everybody is pleased with that. Shiva is a great devotee and he is simply pleased if you worship Krishna. Therefore, there is no need to do anything else other than chanting the Hare Krishna, like that he said. So, although he said the same thing what other brahmacharis and others said, but I still was so amazed by his behavior that I could accept what he said. So regarding this, he has one principle called as, lose first and win forever, he says. So first, when I said I want to do worship of Shiva and chant the Yajurveda mantra, he was losing. He said, oh, no problem. You can do that. That's the problem. So he was taking a lower stand. And then by that he won my heart. And then by winning my heart, after that he took upper stand. And he won me forever. So this is one thing I appreciate him very much. That he is very understanding. He is very empathic in his dealing, which I'm still trying to learn from him. As a very amazing Vaishnava. We have seen him since 1991 up to now. And whether you are new or whether you are an old devotee, makes no difference for him. He treats everybody with utmost respect. He values the opinions of others and doesn't push his opinions immediately. At the same time, because of his I feel very similar nature of Lord Chaitanya, his ideal follower, because Lord Chaitanya is called as Priti Purna Vyavahar and Yukti Purna Prachar, So in dealings he is very, very sweet, and when it comes to philosophy he is very straightforward. So Lord Chaitanya would speak very sweetly, enter the heart of Sarvam Bhattacharya, and there he will put a bomb and he will destroy the misconceptions. So that's what I found in him. This is something I just told you one instance. Like that I had dozens of instances experience with him. Yeah.
So very nicely you have pointed out this beautiful quality in His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. How humility wins the hearts. Actually, when you quoted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was interacting with Prakashananda Saraswati, so he did not immediately go and speak to them the philosophy. He sat at a place where people were washing their feet, and eventually he won the hearts with his humility, and then he made them open. So Prabhu, because this quality of humility he exhibited by Radhanath Maharaj won your heart. And it is also one of the essential teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tranadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnana. So can you please comment a little bit on the importance of cultivating this quality of humility in our spiritual life, Prabhu?
Yeah. So Prabhupada explains humility as, not anxious to be honored by others. That's one thing he says. So, like considering oneself like a straw in the street. So this is one thing that I have seen my spiritual master repeatedly emphasizing in many of his lectures. Once when we were in GV, he was telling that we should know that even though we may be leaders in some capacity, you are not the root of the tree. You are only a leaf in the tree, he said. Immediately we all could picturize. Generally a leader in a community, I tend to think that, everybody consults me and without my final sanction, no approval will be made and all that. So it makes one think that I am at the helm of all affairs. They may think like that. But he made us understand. It was a leadership program. He was telling that you are not the root of the tree. Krishna is the root of the tree. You are only a leaf in the tree. Because you are also one of the devotees in the community who is made a coordinator to assist the other devotees. So the same principle I found once Maharaj came to one of the Indian temples. I happened to be with Maharaj walking behind him. So I introduced him to the local leader, who is also Maharaj's disciple. So Maharaj is the one who is so beautifully running the temple. And then Maharaj asked, who are all working with you? And then 2-3 more people came. And he told Maharaj, he is assisting me in this. He is assisting me in this. And then Maharaj looked at him and said, who is assisting whom? He asked. And then he didn't know what exactly he meant. Later on when he went into the room, I was there, he was there, and Maharaj was there. Maharaj told him, we should always think that we are assisting and facilitating people in our care. And we should not think, I am here and he is my right hand, he is my left hand. We should not think like that. That is so in this way he taught humility. Similarly, once Gauranga Prabhu came to Maharaj and said, Maharaj, yesterday's your Journey Home book launch was very, very successful. You were the star. You know, more than 300 people took your books and took signature from you on the stage. Every one of them was like millionaires, many of them. You were the star of yesterday, Maharaj. He said, Maharaj said, yes, you made me a star. I just followed your order. You called me to do that. I did it. But I am only a star, but you are million moons, he said, because Gauranga Prabhu has the
million moons.
Million moons. So he said, you are million. So where is star in front of the moon? He said, and he was completely defeated and he didn't know what to say. So I have seen Maharaj in this way. Like this, not only me, many of us have many examples we may quote like this, which you have seen in Maharaj, his humility. So I feel that as a leader, he looks, if you go to his room, there is only a chatai in the room, you know, and then he's sitting with a desk. Very humble situation. At the same time, he is practically touching the lives of a million people. So he reaches to a lot of people like that. And many big leaders take his shelter and take guidance from him. So his simplicity. So when I became a president in Pune, he told 4 principles which are very valuable for a leader to follow. First one, he said, uncompromising sadhana, he said. Secondly, he said, menial service attitude. He said, people who have white collar service, like preaching, you know, and managing, leading, organizing. So he said that such leaders should do some menial services, like sweeping the floor, or washing the pots, or distributing books, or serving prasad to devotees, worshipping deities. These kind of things we should do, he said. And then he said, when you do this type of menial services, the other people who are in your custody will feel sympathy for you, he said. But if people always see you sitting at the top and commanding them, do this, do that, they will say, he always gives orders. So he said, the first one was uncompromising sadhana, morning program. Second one was menial service attitude. And third, he said, invest in people, he said. He said, you don't have to raise funds. You know, you don't have to worry about accounts and balance sheet, doing everything yourself. You know, you don't have to worry about constructing the temple. He said, you cultivate devotees and help them stabilize in their spiritual life, and they will do everything, he said. So focus your attention on investing in people, he said. So I did the same thing actually in Pune since early days, and even now I am doing the same thing, cultivating the devotees and doing preaching programs, leadership programs, and being available to them through my email and phone. And then he was telling, just like Lord Krishna, he doesn't fight the battle, he empowers Arjuna. So that is Maharaj's point. He was telling that you should empower the devotees to do wonderful things and you clap hands when they do wonderful things. That's a servant leader. He was telling, servant leader actually should empower others to do wonderful things. And then when they succeed, if you delight in their joy, they will remain stable for all life. Otherwise, if I do great things and others applaud for me, I may be very satisfied, but they may not be. So invest in people. And the fourth thing he said, we don't want any post or position or any privileges. We want only seva. And he said, nevertheless, post position may be given to us. And we can have a healthy possession of power to use it in service of Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas. But when the post position and privileges come, They should not go to our head and produce false pride. When there is false pride, it causes great harm to us, and also the people who are supposed to be served by us, they don't get the proper service. So he was telling that in rain and shine, whatever privileges are given, we should know that it is all meant for Krishna service. So in this way, he taught that, we don't need any big position to render service. And even if it is given to us, that is also for service only. Like that he taught. So these principles, I feel that in my life, two personalities are very important for me, Srila Prabhupada and my spiritual master. From Prabhupada, I got my foundation of Siddhanta, I can say. Daily I hear Prabhupada lectures, Bhagavad Gita lectures, Bhagavatam lectures. So Prabhupada's style of presenting the philosophy is very punching with powerful examples and everything. And the more I hear, the more it gives me a very solid foundation. And from his own Radhanath Maharaj, I learnt many new items of Sadachar which I never knew before in my life. So the style of his teaching by his own example, he exemplifies it, and he also teaches it, and he emphasizes it. And for the leaders, he is very frank in speaking those things without any hesitation. So although generally Maharajas seem to be very humble, when it comes to one-on-one personally training, he will tell many facts of life very frankly. This is what I liked very much, especially about Sadachar behavior, proper behavior. So I have seen that he is a person who first emphasizes on Sadachar very much. Otherwise, Sadachar is like a vessel, and then you can have the Siddhanta of the milk in it. Without the vessel, even if you have milk, it's not very helpful. I heard from one South Indian Acharya says, your Siddhanta is like the eyes, and Sadachar is like the legs. So if somebody is lame, then he cannot travel. Imagine if both legs are broken, he cannot travel. Similarly, somebody may be knowing Siddhanta, but if he is very proud and arrogant and inappropriate in dealing, then nobody will want to hear from him. Although he may have a lot of knowledge. So he has Siddhanta but no Sadachar. So therefore, I felt very fortunate and blessed when I came under his shelter. Because in my life I needed this. Probably I sometimes feel that in this lifetime Krishna wanted me to work on this. In the previous lifetime I might have done something. And then in this life I'm continuing the knowledge. Knowledge many people gave me from various books. But apart from knowledge, the Sadachar and the good behavior, that I learned quite a bit from my spiritual master. And then his conduct, his behavior, his training. So that I consider as a great wealth.
Yes. Thank you so much, Prabhu. You shared so many beautiful lessons from the teachings of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. You emphasized on a leader genuinely taking pleasure in seeing the success of the subordinates, and also empowering them, assisting them, not using them as assistants. So even Prabhupada also writes in the Rudra Gita purports, 4th canto, 24th chapter, Krishna gives more credit to his devotees than he takes for himself. That's why he's also called Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. He's physically beautiful, but his heart is beautiful. The beauty of his heart is he gives more credit to his devotees. So this is wonderful principle that a leader has to uphold in empowering the subordinates. But sometimes there is a need to give corrections also. So in such situations, how do we balance between humility and the need to correct people, give them feedbacks? So, and there we may have to identify the faults in them and rectify those faults. How do we maintain that mode of humility while doing this service? So can you please throw some light on it?
Very important topic. And that is one area I learnt a lot from Maharaj, because when he was posted as the president in Pune, and I had to deal with brahmacharis, boys, and congregations, and inevitably problems will come. Prabhupada says we are recruiting people from amongst the conditioned souls. So when they become devotees, it's not that you can recruit only pure devotees. Everybody who comes in, they come with multiple problems, and they are going to cause problems, and we have to correct them. So Maharaj has very clear-cut universal laws, principles on correction. How do we correct? Well, I'll say a few things that I learned from him. So Maharaj was telling once when I met him personally, he was telling, see Suniti, see Suruchi. Both of them dealt with only the same person, Dhruva. But one brought out the best, other one brought out the worst, he said. So Suruchi, when in her dealing with Dhruva, she made him cry, she made his lips quiver, her body tremble like a snake snapped upon by boots, So the very worst behavior came out of Dhruva. In fact, his whole body became like poisoned by envy, On the contrary, Suniti, pacified the boy and directed him to Narada and Vishnu, And again the boy had tears, cold tears of love for God, lips were quivering to chant the shlokas, body was trembling in Ashtasatvika Vikara, So this mother brought out the pure devotee out of Dhruva, So one is bringing pure devotee out of Dhruva, another one bringing the worst behavior out of Dhruva. So Maharaj is telling, so don't blame your subordinates, he was telling. It is the leader who brings the best out of people, Leader can do that. Like for example, a leader can take a simple pot and put some flowers in it and then paint it very beautifully. And then it can be kept on the table like a flower vase, So it's leader who can give qualification to the people by bringing the best out of them, about everybody. So his point was that we have to correct in such a way that you uplift people, don't push people down. So I asked Maharaj, should we chastise them or should we, pamper them? Because if we pamper, they become very casual. If you chastise, then they develop fear for us. And when they develop fear for us, they will offer obeisances from a distance and run away. Although they do obeisances out of fear for us, the relationship is strained. They don't see us as well-wishers. They don't see us as someone to whom they can confide. It's likely that they may be even hiding things. Or tomorrow they may even develop animosity also for such leaders who have corrected them. So keeping this in mind, I asked, should we chastise or should we pamper? Maharaj said, you can do either, he said very coolly. So, really? I can do either, I can chastise also, I asked. But he said, but remember, the end result should be, you should uplift them. He said, the end result should be, you should uplift, not push them down. He said. So, for example, there are cases, Vidura chastised Dhritarashtra, but he uplifted him. Chintamani chastised Villamangal, uplifted him. So that those chastisements which are uplifting are welcomeable, And somebody else may pamper somebody, and then the pampering may also bring the best out of them. Sometimes there's a need for understanding the situation of a person. He's emotionally vulnerable. He's not yet ready. Like once Prabhupada was invited to give a lecture in the Gurukula. And Prabhupada went inside. He thought the teachers are going to come, he thought. And he brought the children. Prabhupada said, lecture for these kids? They said, yes. And then asked for the cookies and he gave them. And if this is enough for them. And they offered obeisances and they went away. So Prabhupada said, these children are very, young to hear any big lecture, he said. So in this way, Prabhupada understood who need to be given what. His Grace Bhurijana Prabhu says that I used to give $200 to Prabhupada every month. And I was a householder. And Prabhupada replied back to me with letter saying that, oh Bhurijana, I am so grateful to you that you promptly give your donations every month without fail. This kind of eagerness to serve your spiritual master, this will give you a lot of advancement, like that he writes. And then His Holiness Tamaksha Maharaj came and put a check in front of Prabhupada, $20,000. Prabhupada said, that's all? He asked. He said, Prabhupada, we are hoping to get another 10,000 more next month, he said. This is, so Bhurijana Prabhu compares these two things. I was giving $200 and got appreciation. He is giving $20,000 and getting chastisement because Prabhupada knew whom to deal with how. Like Tamaksha Maharaj is working very closely with Prabhupada, and this is sannyasi also. And Prabhupada wanted to sort of scold because his expectation from him was also very high. Because he's a single person, sannyasi, and he has potential, he has capability. So his chastisement is to bring out more out of that person. On the contrary, he is a householder, he has many other duties to do, he is giving a donation. This is all he can do. So he is able to, just like Lord appreciates small or big, and whatever offering comes. Like that, Bhurijana Prabhu writes in his book, My Glorious Master. He writes. So, in this way, while correcting also, we should see who needs to be corrected how. So we have to see that, because somebody is very intimate, in the inside circle. They may be in a position to take correction. I have personal experience also. Those who are very, very close, if you give them an input, they consider us their well-wishers. So they know that Prabhuji is telling me for my own growth. So then we can tell them. The same thing we cannot tell another person who is not in our inside circle. No. So, and then Maharaj was also telling that even if somebody is in inside circle, you cannot take them for granted. You may be thinking that they are my inside circle people. And then you give them a correction, they may become inimical also. So therefore he said that correction is, no living entity likes it. Nobody likes to take a feedback. So Maharaj was telling that whenever you give correction, keep it brief. Like you tell the good things they have done and briefly give a correction. And also tell them that if you make this correction, you will shine in your life. I am telling this to you for your good. Like Krishna also says, Sarva guhyatamam bhuyaha, shunime paramam vajaha, ishtosime, dridamiti, idam vakshyamite hitam. I am telling for your benefit, and you are very, very dear to me, Arjun. And I am giving you the topmost secret. All that thing he puts before giving Manmanabha. Because he wants to tell him that this is what I want you to do. He says like that. So the topic of correcting without hurting, just like we have aluminum vessel, you put your hand inside and then you can hit it like that. But without putting hand, if you hit, it will make a hole in that. Instead of making the metal little flat, it will make a hole in that. In the same manner, when you are correcting, in Hindi we call it apna banakar correction dena chahiye. That means you should tell him that, see, you are very close to me, and I consider you this, and I consider you my representative. I have so much faith in you that tomorrow, if there is a very big program, I can send you on my behalf, and I am fully confident that you can represent me. Therefore, I want to offer you one input. Like that, if I say and tell him, he will say, Prabhu, you can smash me, you can, whatever you want to do with me, you do, I am yours. He will say like that. Oh, because you are giving me that position, that respect. You are actually shaping me to make me a powerful individual tomorrow. Then they are ready to be shaped by you. So this we call as apna banakar sikana. We tell the people. And appreciating them and recognizing the good work done and then giving a correction. That is like we call it as iron fist with the velvet gloves. Because when you put a velvet gloves, people don't mind so much. Because Prabhuji gave me a correction, but also, he also appreciated me. See, in the beginning, he appreciated me. The end also appreciated. In between, he gave correction. I think he likes me. Everybody has this question nowadays. Does he like me or not? Does he like me or hate me? Like me or hate me? Living entity always keeps thinking like this. So, if he is confident that overall we like him, and then we are only giving some correction, people will be able to take. So one thing I have seen my spiritual master, he will never give anyone a feeling that I don't like you, or I hate you, or you have done some big blunder or something. He is very, very intelligent in giving people that assurance that you are mine, and I consider you very important. I trust you, and I consider you very important in my program. At the same time, there are some small things that you have to work on. And if you work on that, it's like, for example, I have an apple. It has a black spot. I don't have to throw away the apple. It's like if I throw away the apple, it's like throwing away the baby with the bath water, we say. It's like that. You take the apple, take a knife and remove that black portion. Then the apple becomes first class. So he will give us that feeling that you are a wonderful devotee and you have a small problem, which is also a removable problem also. Therefore, I am telling you. By saying like this, the devotee feels very happy. Oh, that's it. If I do this, I'll be perfect. I'm ready to do it. On the other hand, if we make a mole into a mountain and say that you have been always like this, and I don't think you're going to change, you're
hopeless.
You're hopeless. So then the people become very, guarded, and they say that, oh, you're bringing the worst out of me. Honestly speaking, in my life, I didn't know these principles. So I learned it through the school of hard knocks, as we say, in dealing with the people, in the very early days of my leadership in Pune. Many people. Like if somebody commits a mistake, I would think that this mistake has to be thoroughly rectified by teaching them the principle. But over a period of time, my spiritual master taught me to learn this point that living entities cannot be changed completely. Like Krishna says, Nigraha Kim Karishyasi. He says that the natures are there, very deep-rooted conditionings they come with. So you can try to help them rectify it by giving them the right guidance. But ultimately, we have to cultivate detachment also. So Maharaj teaches us the correcting is a very delicate matter. So every living entity has their false ego also. So without tampering their false ego, we have to bring about the positive change in them. And that requires compassion, he says. That requires concern. That requires compassion. If you're compassionate for that jiva, if you're concerned for that jiva, then the way you will administer the correction will come out good. And without the compassion and concern, we are in a superiority complex. I think, I know what is right and this fellow doesn't understand, it is a muff. Then with that mood, immediately we spring to action. Try to bring about a correction in them. They will very smoothly slip out. They will not come into our catch.
They will withdraw themselves.
Yeah. This reminds me, there is one story of Emerson. Emerson is a great writer. When he was a small kid, one day he was playing in the farm. And one calf, was frolicking, jumping up and down. At that time, it was drizzling from the sky. So what Emerson did, he went and caught hold of this rope in the neck. And then he was dragging it to come inside because it was raining, it was drizzling.
The calf.
And the calf was like skidding, keeping the legs like this. It was coming, it was not ready to go inside. And he dragged to his best, he couldn't. In fact, calf was successful in dragging to the other side. The lady who works in the farm, she laughed seeing this. She told the child, see, I will tell you the technique how this calf can be taken inside. It's very easy technique, she said. So she gave few fingers in the mouth of the calf here. Calf started licking, and then she took the tail and twisted like this again. Immediately the calf ran inside. Like that, immediately ran inside. So that means, this fellow was trying to drag the calf. That is like, tampering with the ego of the people. And tamper with the ego of the people, the ego gets hurt. They will try to prove to you that they are right and you are wrong. They get into that. Then a lot of hours go in that correction. On the contrary, without tampering with the false ego, if we try to encourage them, appreciate them for what they are, and then subsequently we see that it comes out well. People are willing to receive.
Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful explanation on the principles of correction. Very comprehensive, multiple Shastric examples and lessons from Guru Maharaj.
One very important, I think I've forgotten correction. Maharaj says, you should find out whom that person loves. And it will be nice if we can give the correction through that person. Maharaj says that because then it goes very smoothly without much resistance. And sometimes you feel that I don't have the kind of relation that someone else has. Then better I don't make an effort to correct him directly. Because already there is a strain and then don't strain it further. Instead, pass it through someone whom they love, like the he says. That's another thing he taught.
Amazing. Prabhu, you also mentioned about Bhurijana Prabhu, how he used to offer $200.
Yeah.
And Prabhupada appreciated it. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj offered $20,000. He said he can bring more. Recently, I had the good fortune of meeting Bhurijana Prabhu at Vrindavan, Govardhan. So Prabhuji is
an extraordinary personality.
Yeah, amazing, very absorbing. He was teaching us being alone with Krishna together with devotees of Krishna. So brahmacharis were there. So he made a beautiful point. The best way of living life is to be in harmony with the best part of ourselves. The best part, they have multiple parts.
Correct.
Some
best part is a devotee part?
Devotee part.
Okay.
One part is hankering for some material enjoyment. One part is envious of another devotee. The best part is hankering to love Krishna, serve Krishna.
That means carry your consciousness to that part.
Yeah, that part. Very beautiful point. This reminds me of the importance of being serious in bhakti while protecting ourselves from multiple allurements, distractions, and temptations presented by Maya and people around us. Internally, we are disturbed by desires. Externally, we are disturbed by distractions.
Correct.
So, we are very exemplary in maintaining that strict balance between service and sadhana, and then be focused, determined in bhakti, and that's what you teach many devotees also. So, can you please throw some light on the importance of being so disciplined and focused and determined in bhakti without getting distracted or tempted by the allurements of Maya? Just something on these lines.
One thing is, the end goal of all our practice should always be in the forefront of our eyes. Like, for example, going back to Godhead, and pleasing the spiritual master. Right now we should try to please the spiritual master, and ultimately we go back to Godhead. So both are very important, because once His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami was telling that we should ask ourselves, if I do this, will it please my spiritual master? Or if my spiritual master is present right here, will I do this? Everybody should ask like that. When you ask a question like that, and that will actually save us from various types of dangers. So, and also, Smaranityam Anityatam. He says that we should always remember that the life is temporary. So, in the Vidura section, it says that Vidura lived in a renounced temperament. So, renounced temperament means I always feel that I am in a foreign place. Anytime, this body can conk off, today or tomorrow. It can happen to anybody, because we see that somebody is bitten by a serpent, somebody dies in an accident, somebody gets some disease and dies. But this body is a failing phenomenon. And I am seated in this bodily machine, and I have to use this instrument in Krishna service now, and then I will have to quit this body one day. So this thought should be always in the forefront of a devotee. If a devotee is remembering the nature of the falling away phenomenon of the material body on one hand, on the other hand, there is an effort to please the spiritual master, because Krishna consciousness ultimately means pleasing the spiritual master and acharyas. We are coming for that. Other things are secondary, which will automatically happen. If you do this, purification of heart will happen. Awakening of love for God will happen. Going back to God will happen. Everything else is a subset of this. Pleasing Guru and Krishna. In one purport, Prabhupada writes, Yeme Swadharma Nirataha Tapasa Samadhi. Adhyatma Yoga. That purport, Prabhupada says, one should not bother about even going back to Godhead. Simply please the spiritual master, and everything else will be taken care. He says like that. So, therefore, I was saying, live in a renounced temperament, and always make an effort to please the spiritual master. And another very important thing is being cautious of Maya. Like SadhuVarta was cautious of Maya. Prahlad was conscious of Krishna. SadhuVarta was cautious of Maya.
So thank you so much, Prabhu, for comprehensively elaborating on protecting ourselves from allurements and distractions and focusing on bhakti. Also, Prabhu, out of so many services that you do, community building, book distribution, leadership, management, many things, youth preaching has a special seat in your heart. So I also heard that Guru Maharaj has instructed you to focus on that service. Can you just elaborate on your connection, your relation, your enthusiasm to do this particular service of bringing so many youth into Krishna consciousness?
In 1994, I joined in Chowpatty, and 1.5 years later, I was sent to Pune, 1996. So both my GBCs, one is my spiritual master, Radhanath Maharaj, and another is Holiness Gopal Goswami Maharaj. I met them at 2 individual times, and amazingly, both of them told me that now there are hardly any brahmacharis in the ashram in Pune. There's a handful, 2-3 are there. So you should start youth preaching. I was amazed at how both of the GBCs have given the same instruction. So His Holiness Radhanath Swami wrote a beautiful letter to me, inspiring me and ordering me to preach to youth. And so I started with 96. We went to a couple of colleges, PICT, Bharati Vidyapith, like that, started there. And then between 1996 to 2003, I can say, has been a very tough phase in terms of late nights for me. because I became president of the temple and I would sleep only 4 hours or something like that. And my health would be a little bit affected. It was a struggle. But then 2003 onwards, I started observing that a lot of devotees started joining full time. And then many started getting married also. So we saw that from youth preaching, everything came about in Pune. Like we have brahmacharis joining ashram and becoming preachers later. We have grihasthas, men becoming very nice, intelligent practitioners, and they become community members. Then their wives started preaching to the children and the girls, Then the girls preaching started and children preaching started like that. And then when these youngsters came to Krishna consciousness, their parents started coming, saying that, oh, our children are so, nicely practicing. So they became connected. The whole family became connected. So in this way, I observed that preaching to youth is a very big advantage because the whole community comes from that, like a whole Vatavriksha coming out of that. So in 2004, we did one National Youth Festival where 5,000 devotee youths came from all across the country. They were all already chanting 4 rounds, 8 rounds and all from cultivated by different ISKCON temples. So the brahmachari preachers came and the boys also came. So that's where I made friendships with many of the temples in India. And they became close friends and we had discussions and then they would buy our youth books and everything and all. So from then on, many of the temples started inviting us to their temple to help in youth preaching. We started traveling. Then many of the temples eventually grew up in a nice manner. Then they wanted wanted us to send brahmacharis to permanently stay there, like Calcutta, Kanpur, Bangalore, Hyderabad. So in this way, I saw that this line of youth preaching is really building ISKCON in a very big way, both in Pune and other places. Almost
contributing
like
to the development at multiple places.
Multiple places. So I was very happy. And also Prabhupada told one staff reporter, she asked, why you are preaching to the young people? Prabhupada asked, why are you building colleges for the young people? Why do you call them to colleges? She said, that's the age to cultivate knowledge. She said, Prabhupada said, it's the same way here. He said, the spiritual knowledge is best cultivated when they are young. And they are in a mood to study. They have academic approach. And they study the Shastra now. It becomes a foundation for their future. And then once they are married and once they have a big job and life becomes super busy. Now also we find many married people. The women become more serious than husband also. So they have time. But husband has no time. He's super busy. But when they're in the college, every morning they hear a class, 40 minutes. So they grow very nicely. Yeah. And I still have a very great hope in the youth preaching because I feel that in India now there are like 25,000 devotees now. 600 devotees. And then those who are chanting some rounds will be a few lakhs actually in India youths. So youngsters are the future of tomorrow for the moment. As the older people gradually leave the world, there should be succession. The next level people taking responsibility in our movement. And by that, our movement, the future of a movement is very bright by that.
Also, Prabhu, you are a great Shastra lover. You love scriptures. Can you please share at least one of your favorite episodes from Srimad Bhagavatam and why that pastime is so dear to you and just one lesson from that episode?
Yeah, actually two pastimes I am very fond of. One is the Kaliya Daman Leela and another one is Ajamil Upakhyan. The reason is in the Kaliya Daman Leela you find Krishna is purifying Kaliya by dancing on the top of his hoods. So while Kaliya is getting purified, all the devatas are showering flowers and playing instruments and Vijavasis are seeing Krishna's beautiful dance. It's simultaneously the Lord knows the art of enjoying rasa with his devotees while purifying some demoniac-minded person also. Just like I remember you once spoke about Rasraj under Giriraj. So on the top of Giriraj, Indra was getting purified. Below the Giriraj, Rasraj was exchanging love with all his devotees. So it's such a very thrilling pastime. And another reason I like this Kaliya Daman pastime is because I once heard from his spiritual master this Kaliya, which has a loose body, moving like that. That's similar to our tongue. He said this tongue is like the Kaliya. And just like on the top of Kaliya, Krishna danced. Krishna is dancing in our tongue when we chant the holy name. And then he said, when we chant the holy name, we feel bitterness of heart and a lot of difficulty. And Hare Krishna, why? Because inside the heart there is avidya, which is like the poison of Kaliya. But by dancing up Krishna repeatedly, the poison all will come out. Similarly, the holy name will remove our poisonous tendency. So he was telling that that's how Krishna will dance in our tongue and purify it. So I loved it, loved the way he explained it. So I Yatta Chiro Nanamate. He says that whichever head was not bobbing, Krishna, he would lift the head and then immediately Krishna would dance on that. He would lift another head and he would dance on that. So that's a very, very amazing pastime. I got even a video also of Bharatanatyam, which I often show whenever I recite this series of verses. So I feel that I am also, having many anarthas, and Krishna so kindly dances on our tongue and he purifies. One day I will be completely exhausted of all the unwanted things. So, and Prabhupada says, all the while Krishna was smiling also, dancing on the Kaliya. He was not afraid that, which hood is going to bite me or something like that. So, the beauty of Krishna's pastimes is, Madbhakta Vinodartam Karomi Vividaha Kriyaha, like the Lord says in that Padma Purana. He says, I give great delight to the heart of my devotees while performing these pastimes, although he is destroying the demons or defeating the demons. The beauty of this pastime is the Kaliya was not killed because the Lord transformed Kaliya's heart. And my spiritual master was saying that our false ego is defeated, but then it is converted into true ego. So the ego is not destroyed. So such an amazing lesson it is. So for this reason, this is very favorite for me. And Ajamilapa can, because of the glories of the holy name, spoken by the Vishnu Dutas and later on by Yamaraj also. And the power of the holy name to, just by calling out one name, the Yamapash was cut, and the holy name is a destroyer of sins. The holy name is a liberator. The holy name is a Swarupa awarder. The holy name connects the Jiva back to Krishna personally, So I was deeply moved by this pastime of, in those days I began reading this book, Second Chance. So after that I was so thrilled by this pastime, then I went to the Bhagavatam, 6th canto, and then I read. So this I have spoken in many places because I feel that this is the need of the hour now in this age, because Kali Yuga Dharma is holy name, and many people are not even aware of it. So creating awareness to people that this is the Yuga Dharma and the power of the holy name, So how the holy name is extremely effective in not only eradicating the sin, but also inducing us to approach Krishna further. So this was very, very amazing, very thrilling pastime.
Thank you, Prabhu. Also, Prabhu, you are a very captivating reciter of shlokas. Can you please recite one shloka and explain its meaning, Prabhu?
Oh,
your favorite shloka.
There are shlokas on Krishna which I like very much, like Tasmad Bhavantam Anavadyam Anantaparam Sarvajñam Ishwaram Akunta Vikunta Dishnyam Nirvinnadhi Rakamukhe Bhurijana Tapto Narayanam Narasakam Sharanam Prapadye. This verse is very extraordinary verse because here Uddhava is telling everybody is looking for someone to take shelter of.
Perfect master.
Perfect master. So here he is telling why Krishna is perfect master. So whenever we talk to boys, when I talk this verse, boys say, my Lord, Krishna is spotless master.
Anavadyam.
Anavadyam. Anantaparam. He has no limit or jurisdiction. He can go to Yamaloka and bring his Guru son back. He can go to Mahavishnuloka and bring 4
Brahmanas.
children of Brahmanas back. He can go to Varunaloka and bring Nanda Baba back. So I narrate each of these pastimes, and so this is very relishable to think about and also to teach others also. This is one verse. Another famous verse about Krishna is this. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutastunmanti Divyaistavai Vedai Sangha Padakramo Panishadeir Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Navidus Sura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namo. So this verse also is very, very favorite. In fact, many times in Bhagavatam, the beginning I recite this also. Because all the hosts of 33 crore devatas are bowing down to Krishna, glorifying him. Vedas are glorifying him. The yogis are meditating on him in their hearts. So Lord Vasudeva's position, it establishes Krishna's. I quote this and then I quote the famous one, Vasudeva Parabeda, Vasudeva Paramaka. So whenever I talk about Krishna's supremacy, I bring these verses. Very nice. Similarly, another very important thing in the Bhagavatam is the verses on glorifying the Shuddha Bhakti. ekantino yaschana kanchanartam vanchanti ye vai bhagavat prapannaha adhyadbhutam taccharitam sumangalam gayanta ananda samudramagna. How this verse is developed, if you see, ekantino yasya na kanchanartam vanchanti. They don't desire anything material. And then the question may be asked, why? Bhagavat prapanna. They surrender to Lord. Somebody may ask, okay, by surrendering to Lord, what do they get? Atyadbhutam, Tacharitam, Sumangalam. They get the Adbhuta Charitrama of Krishna, which is Mangalmaya, which is most auspicious, yeah. You know. And then if somebody gets this, then what do they get? Gayanta. It just gradually blossoms, this verse. Yeah. So in this way, the verses, there's another famous verse. Parijate anjasalabde sarangananyannade sevate tvarangrimulamasādhya sakshat kim kim rinimahi. That verse says, you know, the ones that honeybee searching for honey in different flowers, when he sat in the Parijata flower, he put a tent there. He didn't want to go anywhere else. Yes. So Krishna's lotus feet is like that. So every object in this world can award you some quantum of happiness. Somebody may say that television offers me this much quantum of happiness. Video games offers me this much quantum of happiness. You know, for a man, a woman may offer some X quantum of happiness like that. Or somebody eats some tasty food, it offers some quantum of happiness. But all these things you can see that happiness in the world has a beginning and end. Adyantavanta Kaunteya says. But the kind of happiness that one gets in the lotus feet of Krishna, the honeybee decided to stay forever there. Correct now? So these kind of verses glorifying the Shuddha Bhakti. They are very dear. Then there are verses glorifying the Bhagavatam itself. Tadaiva ramyam ruchiram navam navam. Ruchiram, it's very sweet. Ramyam, beautiful. Navam navam, it's ever fresh. Bhagavatam. Why it's ever fresh? You know, newspaper in the morning becomes a Radhi in the evening. You know, Bhagavatam 5,000 years ago was spoken. And now we are putting flowers, we are opening and reading, and it is heart transforming. You know, it's always ever fresh even after 5,000 years. So in this way, these verses glorifying the Bhagavatam. In fact, they increase our appreciation, attraction and desire to take shelter of Bhagavatam.
Actually, all the 4 or 5 shlokas that you quoted are having the common theme of Sharanagati, taking shelter of the Lord.
Correct.
First for Krishna directly, last one Krishna Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatam shelter.
Yeah. Also, Sarvagnam Ishwaram Akuntha Vikuntha Krishnam. Sarvagna. Krishna is
all knowing.
Therefore, he is Kartagna. Therefore, he is grateful. He knows every single service that we do.
He doesn't forget anything.
Yeah.
He remembers even after a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Kartagna.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I would like to hear a few words from you and how much Prabhupada had an impact on you, because you quote Prabhupada's letters or conversations or Prabhupada's purports, and practically in every lecture we see Prabhupada's photo also is there closely in the YouTube videos. So can you just speak at least a couple of glories of Srila Prabhupada that are qualities of Prabhupada that are very dear to your heart, that inspired you the most in your spiritual life?
Yeah. See, in my very early days, in I think July or August 1990, I think, I went to Juhu temple. In those days, Juhu used to come also, and Grand Road Chowpai temple also used to come. Both were coming. So before getting connected to His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, I used to attend the Juhu programs for about 4 or 5 months I was attending. Later on, I used to attend both the programs, like that. So in those programs, I saw something very unique. People like His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, His Grace Mukund Madhav Prabhu, His Grace Ramaru Prabhu, His Grace Kapila Prabhu, His Grace Jiva Prabhu, and all these people used to come, taking turns they would come. So when they were coming, one common denominator I saw was their very strong faith in Prabhupada. And I used to wonder what gives these people so much faith. So when I started going to Juhu temple, I was chanting probably a couple of rounds, 2 rounds, 3 rounds I was chanting. I saw that they are very much grounded in the philosophy of Prabhupada, philosophy from his books. And they quote also many times sections from Prabhupada's books and things like that. So over a period of time, I found that Prabhupada is very strong in speaking, but nobody can deny what he is speaking because he is speaking the truth without any compromise. So eventually, over a period of time, that became the most attractive principle for me, because before coming to ISKCON, I've been to a dozen organizations searching for the truth. Many people said many things. But after reading Prabhupada's book systematically, I became convinced about the philosophy.
Uncompromisingly presenting the truth.
Straightforward. Like, for example, these are the 4 relative principles you have to follow. This is the mantra you have to chant. And this is in Guru Parampara. Krishna says it, so we repeat it. And Prabhupada says, I'm only a postal peon. I don't have any qualification. If at all there is any good qualification in me, my qualification I repeat. In Guru Parampara, he says, I don't have any other qualification. He is very thoroughly honest Acharya. So Prabhupada's honesty, his transparency and presentation of the truth in an unadulterated manner, and truth becoming acceptable to people from all walks of life across the globe, not only to some small section of people in India, and Prabhupada's sacrifice in going to the West and fulfilling the order of the Guru, most importantly, his genuineness. He's like a 24 karat gold, so genuine and pure, without any material motivations. So my affection, my respect and faith in Prabhupada became very deep. So in those days, before going to Juhu temple, somebody showed me the video of Prabhupada, Ever Well-Wisher, Your Ever-Wisher. And that really moved me the most. Because this old man is going to West and doing so much. I want to help him. So I told that fellow, take me to Juhu. So then when I went to Juhu, I realized that he is not there anymore. He left in 1977. Then I decided that I want to help his followers. Those who are faithfully following him. I would like to help those people. I thought like that. So, and later on when I read his 1-volume Leelamrit, my affection became more concrete, more solid. Then I read the proper Leelamrita. So now one of my goals is to speak the philosophy in a very lucid manner, like the way Prabhupada speaks. And also quote Prabhupada's purports and Prabhupada's conversations, letters. Like, for example, take a purport of Prabhupada and just to help people understand the purport by reading the lines of Prabhupada in line with Prabhupada. That means when I expand also, it should be in line with what he says. For example, I am trying to explain this. For this, I will go to another section of Bhagavatam and quote Prabhupada, what he says there. So I feel honestly in my heart that if I simply learn the art of repeating what Prabhupada speaks, then we can make very powerful devotees. Because Prabhupada himself made such devotees in his times. So if we can keep our authenticity and the purity and the transparency and loyalty in our presentation to the style in which he presented his literature. That's why this Transcend has come now on BBT. App has come in Hindi and English and all multiple languages. So they are making provision for many people to read Prabhupada's books and everything, which is a very great blessing for the whole world. It is. So they are making Prabhupada easily available, accessible, approachable. Yeah.
So Prabhu, you spoke very nicely about Srila Prabhupada's qualities and so many lessons that you have learned from Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And may I ask you now, who are some of the other devotees, Prabhupada and Maharaj, who are some of the other devotees who inspire you the most, their equals or contemporary devotees, whom you adore the most nicely?
Yeah. One of the devotees, after seeing whom I decided to dedicate my life to Grant Road, Chopari Temple, was His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. His sacrifice and his clarity of speech, presentation of the philosophy was very he would teach Bhagavad Gita with Bhagavatam pastimes. In those days, he would bring a Bhagavatam book with him. So he would speak Teishnosmita and he'll show pictures from Chitraketu. He would show the Bhagavatam pictures from the book. In those days, we didn't have slideshow and other things. He would show from the book. So Bharat, those 3 pastimes deeply affected us. Bharat Maharaj pastime, Chitraketu, and Ajamila. So he would narrate these pastimes when he is teaching the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. And also his personality and his very caring nature and his, the kind of presentation of philosophy he'll give, he will exactly understand the question. He will ask us also, is that your question? He will say, yes, cut, immediately he'll give the answer. And the answer would fit so well, we don't have to ask one more question after that. We loved that. So, but later on, when I started coming to Chapati, I joined in 94. Then he went to Belgaum. He was sent to Belgaum after that. Then I took more guidance from His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhu. And Radha Gopinath Prabhu's lectures are lovely, the way he gives example stories and everything. Even I give many examples in my lectures that I learned from him only, because I was deeply inspired by his lectures, Bhagavatam lectures, and personal guidance also. When I became president in Pune, I would come many times to Bombay, and he gave me hours and hours to sit with him and ask about dealing with devotees, principles. Personal mentoring I got from him a lot, even now also. Whenever I invite him to Pune also, I go to Kolhapur sometimes to join his lectures also. Whenever I come to Bombay, I travel with him to Bhaktivedanta to attend and all. I still see him as like a Shiksha Guru who, under in whose guidance I can flourish in my spiritual life. And amongst my friends, the best of friends are Gauranga Prabhu and Paramahams Prabhu in IIT days. Later on, Paramahams Prabhu went to Bhaktivedanta hospital when he took up the householder life. So our interactions became a bit little reduced. Otherwise, in IIT we had a very nice time together. And Gauranga Prabhu actually, Gauranga Prabhu and me grew up together, taking prasad together in IIT and even in Pune also, staying together in Satyam Shamsundaram building, preaching together, going on book distribution together. And we almost joined together almost same time. I think he joined in January, I joined in February. So in 1994. And he's a very, very, very inspiring example in terms of Shastric study. So in IIT, when we were reading small books, he would be reading, Bhagavad Gita. When we started Bhagavatam, he went into Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam also, he systematically would study very nicely, make very good notes. Plus, apart from that, he is a very great encourager, appreciator of many devotees. When he came to Pune, when the new temple was coming up, he came and helped us with cultivating the donors in Pune. Meeting he gave for the donors also. Encouraged the construction team and other things, devotees. Many devotees take personal inspiration from him because he is also very humorous in his classes many times.
Yes.
People love the way he presents the philosophy, and many people look up to him.
Even I heard his classes without seeing him. For I think 1 or 2 years I was hearing his classes, audio classes in those days, and got attracted to the philosophy to him.
Very extraordinary. So, and even now, he has a connection to Pune. He comes and helps a lot. He used to tell me, Radheshyam, don't think Bombay, Pune are separate. It's like 2 rooms in one house. In those days, I used to come to GEV for the, we used to have 14 of us. We used to have counselors for spiritual vision.
15 years back, when we were very new.
In that, Gauranga Prabhu, Radha Gopinath Prabhu, Shamanand Prabhu, Govind Prabhu, Sanatkumar Prabhu, Gauranga Prabhu, Rohini Priya Prabhu,
Madan Gopal
Prabhu, and Prajavihari Prabhu also. Madhvacharya Prabhu.
13 plus 14.
14 of us were there. Slowly, now all these devotees are in different continents now, across the globe.
15 years down the line.
Gradually, only 5-6 of us could meet, and eventually it was dissolved. Practically, we don't get to meet. But golden days, those are golden days when we could come together for sometimes 2.5 days also. We will have some part of the meeting will be on holy name, some part of it will be from Mahabharata, some will be from Srimad Bhagavatam, and some will be like personal practice and talks. It's exactly Mukhyama Kate Prachit type of program. Beautiful program it is. Yeah, I wish we can rebring those good old days.
Even I also feel that devotees are spending a lot of time expanding the movement, but parasparana kathanam, machitta madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam, then guhyamakheti prachiti. So these things also will have to be prioritized, and that nourish us.
They have to be planned.
Spiritual talks.
Exactly, yeah.
Private and personal conversations can be spiritual conversations about Krishna's Nam Rupa Ganila.
Very, very true, very true. Yeah. And in Pune, by Krishna's grace and Guru's grace, I got very capable people to succeed me. Like next to me, we have Sarlakshmi Prabhu and Revatipati Prabhu managing the temple, NVCC temple nicely. And the whole youth preaching now in all over India is led by Antati Prabhu now. And they are very mature. So because of that, Krishna gifted me all these wonderful devotees in such a way that he allowed me to take a little back seat and I can do my preaching, studying, and I can do many things. I can travel abroad 3 months in a year. I'm able to do all these things because there are many nice devotees doing these things. Yeah. Yeah. I also time to time talk with His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. On Zoom we meet many times. Sometimes 1 hour, sometimes 1.5 hours. Part of our discussions are Shastric talks. So one thing I learned that it's very nice to connect with people who are sincerely
Sajatiya.
Sajatiya, connecting people. Amarendra Prabhu is a great friend and he comes to Pune to do big festivals like 2,000 people. I call him to Hyderabad also, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Calcutta. In this way we call him to different places for attracting the new youths. He comes and does big programs and he does program for the devotees also he does. Yeah, these are people I connect with, people whom I spend some time with. Although there are many other good souls in our society, but there is not much, there has to be opportunity also. Like fortunately you are not only available in GV, we are able to have you come to Hyderabad, and with this kind of interaction, we are getting that opportunity. Otherwise there are devotees whom we don't get to interact much, although we adore them from a distance. Yeah.
Amarendra Prabhu, yes, he is very loving and caring, and he makes a personal connection very easily.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So Shastra is the connection, and some sharing of realizations.
He's a thinking person.
Yes,
He
humble also.
he always thinks in terms of application in personal life, and he speaks from the heart.
Yes,
from the bottom of the
he is a good learner also.
Learn lots,
he wants to learn, take tips. Very good. Thank you so much.
And in my inspiration, you are one of the top inspirations. I'll tell you what I'll tell you. Amongst my observation of various devotees in ISKCON, one of the devotees who is very focused in not only studying Shastra, but formulating methods to help the ISKCON world and the outside world learn the Shastra. Like for example, you began with the subordinate guides you made, and subsequently now there's Gita tales, there's Bhagavatam tales, and then there are also many very, very practical books like that green book. What is that for that teenagers, teens? You brought one book for the teens. Where you
Answers to life's questions. Bhagavad Viveka.
Bhagavad Viveka is also there. One book you brought for the teenagers.
Mindful Me.
Mindful Me, yeah. Mindful Me. Mindful Me is a very, very practical book. So like this, 40, 50 books you have brought out, and I feel that you are one of the youngest preachers in ISKCON who developed these materials for the welfare of the whole world in a very, very powerful way. And also your enthusiasm in Shastric study and making these materials has triggered, you may not even know how much it has triggered interest and enthusiasm in mass of ISKCON devotees worldwide, and you also made yourself available through online courses.
Thanks to COVID. Before that
and also I really admire your ability in, making teams of people. Like you have somebody who's a WhatsApp admin, who coordinates the event for you, and then you present because you have real substance to offer. And you are also able to have a team which coordinates it very effectively, making posters, putting up courses, and then making it available for the mass of people. It's a very good role model. Yeah. One thing I would appreciate is like the way you have been doing very well. If you empower people in the future also, so that I feel that many people in ISKCON, they have potential to blossom, but they don't have guidance. Now, many times it's like that example given in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, like a lamp is kept inside a pot. A lamp inside a pot is not able to benefit. So you had a very good blend of, you had IISc education. You did your masters in IISc, right? No? So you were an intelligent student from IISc. So, and you had touch with the computers. You had some knowledge about how to compile a paper, how to make books, how to make articles. And you had a strong taste for Bhagavatam study. So all these things combined, your life has blossomed very beautifully, I can say. Study of the Bhagavatam, developing taste in the Bhagavatam, studying it, relishing it, and then preparing materials to guide the world So it's a very, very good example. Many of us admire Pune also and Hyderabad also.
I feel a bit awkward and embarrassed to hear all this, Prabhu. I didn't plan it. I didn't desire it.
It happens by the blessing of Guru and by endeavor. It's a combination.
More than that, I was sharing with Bhurijana Prabhu. Probably, if I were to bestow all these great spiritual privileges to someone with my consciousness, probably I would hesitate to do it. But Krishna is so merciful, Vaishnavas are so merciful, spiritual master is so merciful. They gave me that mercy, but whatever services you mentioned, I didn't either plan for it or desire it or deserve it. It's just happening through me by the grace. I'm just recipient of mercy.
This is in Pune who told me, when Gauranga Darshan Prabhu speaks, he will not waver this side or that side anywhere from the Shastra. He is
I don't know anything else also.
So they very much, this is one thing that people appreciate. Another thing, and your Vaishnava Sadachar that you follow, they say that as much as he has spiritual substance, he also has the good Sadachar. So these are things I adore very much in your personality, by which I feel that ISKCON's future is very bright by this kind of good example. I was telling many, there is Gauranga Prabhu, then there is Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, there is Gauranga Bihari Prabhu now, there is Gaur Naam Prabhu. Yeah. Many Gauranga line is coming here, and all are very special devotees. And you have paved a way for many such good people to follow you here also. Vidyapitam, that the way you established it and you developed it now, it's very, very wonderful.
It's all Gauranga Prabhu's desire that it has to be there. Somehow I got the opportunity to participate. Yes, Prabhu.
No, Gauranga Prabhu was telling in one lecture that he was quoting your example and saying that when Gauranga Darshan Prabhu came here, I gave him, making this mud blocks in the beginning. So almost 6 months or 8 months or 1 year you were doing it. And then he said that there was a need in the deity room. I sent him there, and then he became a head pujari. He was dressing also, and he was getting it done from other people also he was doing. And then one point of time there was a desperate need for someone to take care of Shastric study. Then he said, and I called him and engaged him in this. He said, I was stunned to see how, his the Shastric, potential that he had. He said, then I never want to move him out of this. He said, I didn't want to change his service. He said, I could see the best potential coming out. He said. So what I understood is, Krishna and Guru have made a plan that they will put you. So you rendered very humble services. You never aspired for anything, or you had no big ambition. You were like a vessel, I can say, which was a very good vessel, a receptacle of Guru's and Krishna's mercy. And because of a faithful practice, you have been put in a very nice role by which you are benefiting yourself and benefiting the whole world very beautifully. So I am very grateful to you for your example. Very good example of Sadachara.
Blessings, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. May this not increase my false pride, which is already there. That's all I can ask for.
You are always careful. You are always extra careful.
Learning from devotees like you, Prabhu, honestly. Otherwise, I don't have much scope to extract all these learnings on my own. I'm just seeing devotees in learning. Last question. Can you just give a concluding message of, what one of the most favorite verses that I have in Bhagavatam, apart from so many verses I like, but one verse which I like the most is Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Radhokshaji Ahaituki Apratihata Yayatma Suprasidati. So no motivations, no selfish agendas, no personal desires. Then second, Apratihata, no inconsistency, no irregularities, no distractions or deviations or temptations. This is what these two words say. Correct. So when we perform bhakti in this mode, selflessly, seamlessly, then uninterrupted, unmotivated way, then complete satisfaction of the heart.
Correct.
Soul satisfaction is guaranteed.
Yeah.
So, whenever I speak things, but somehow or the other, some description, this shloka creeps in multiple times. Because this, I feel this is like essence of everything. Entire Bhagavatam in one sense. Correct. Right? That's true, yeah. The Abhidheya process is summarized in these 2-3 words. Ahaituki Apratita Atma Suprasidati. Correct. So, to achieve this goal, to perform uninterrupted, unmotivated service to Krishna, what are some of the essential things that we need to take care of? If you can just very briefly just mention 2-3 points, bullet points from your experience.
Padidahaitukena pratigata.
Like some final takeaways to put this shloka in action.
Correct, yeah. Actually, the Shastras say that first we have to practice regularly and then we have to practice constantly. So regularly means somebody may say, I regularly come to a temple and every Janmashtami, somebody may say that. So then the regularly can be gradually understood to be nityam, daily. And then constantly means 24/7 practice. So, but Krishna talks about both in the scriptures. Like for example, Satatam Kirtayan Tomam Yatanta Siddhidapruta, that verse. And then Kayana Vacha Manasendriya Irva Buddhyatma Vapagate Svabhavad Karomi Yadya Sakalam Parasmai Narayana Yet Samarpiye Tat. That's in 11th canto. So that verse also talks about non-stop, offering body, mind, words in practice like that he says. So one thing with the nature of Krishna consciousness, the substance of Krishna consciousness is very sublime. And to the degree a person is able to make it regularly and eventually make it constantly, that will bring about these two qualities. So many a times our problem is that there is Krishna conscious contact available, but because of the distractions we tend to go off track for other things, like Izatyara, Prayasa, Prajalpa and all those things. So because of that, one is not able to experience the full benefit of this Krishna consciousness. So therefore I would say when I made a formula for myself, which is live purely, practice intensely, and preach vigorously. These are three pointers. So live purely means following the regular principles strictly, and then not adulterating bhakti with any other dependence other than Krishna. Like one verse says, Sada nama laiva yata labeti santosh yeta achara kare bhakti dharma posh. He says. So, depending only on Krishna, not on anything else, any other arrangement. So, live purely and practice intensely. Practice intensely, especially I consider it as the whole morning program, which is where we require some self-discipline, and also practice intensely with respect to both, especially chanting attentively and reading the Bhagavatam with assimilation, because this is a taking in program, these two, just like if the plant takes the water in, then it can grow and become a tree and later on contribute, preach vigorously. Initially you will see plants are taking in. Later on they give out contribution. Later on, the flower, fruit and everything they give. So when practice is intense, then the preaching can be vigorous. So in the preaching comes Harinam Sankirtan, book distribution, prasadam distribution, preaching programs, and then carrying, cultivating and growing people, all those things comes.
Like
that, yeah, exactly. So I think these three can encapsulate some of the very vital things that any good devotee should be doing. And the living purely also includes truthful, honest, transparent. It's especially talking about the individual's personality.
Simplicity, integrity.
Integrity also.
Thank you so much. It has been a great learning journey. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your wonderful example.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to dig about these things and bring them to surface so that I can also remember them and align with them always. It's very easy for one to speak things, but to align with it and live it, we really need the spiritual strength to do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.